go. Transitioned. Hey, we are here.
Good
I
morning.
always feel like I'm going to mess this up every time I try to do the changing of stuff. I feel like it's. I wish there was less buttons in OBS. So you just be like, start, stop, I'm done.
Yeah, well, more features, more buttons. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
I know. I was trying to figure out earlier how to clean it up a little bit, but it'll get there. So we are on our snap day.
Snap Day. Yep,
Yeah.
doing some block coding today using Snap. Continuing from last week, we were getting started on building a version of the old Atari game Adventure, which is kind of like the original dungeon game, dungeon
Yeah.
video game. So
Ha-
here we are.
Yeah, we're kind of doing this as part of our uh, Ready Player One series
Hmm.
of the old '80s, '90s games. Have you had a chance to start listening to it?
I have not. I have not. I'm still listening to Dune. I'm on the last book,
Yeah.
so I'm
No.
trying to finish it.
I was curious only because I forgot to mention because it's actually Will Wheaton's doing the reading of it, and
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
it was pretty cool. It's like it's like listening to that and having like my the person I watched in Star Trek actually doing the reading of something about the '80s. So it's all the
Right?
'80s. I was like, this is pretty cool. So because I'm re-listening to it again, and I forgot, and I rewatched the movie, and I have to say, it's like the book is just phenomenally better than the movie. Like the movie,
Yeah.
they did a good job, and it's okay, but they changed a lot of the nerdier stuff, and they kind of whitewashed it a little bit, so it wasn't as like as super nerdy as it is in the
Right.
book. And so I don't know. I was like, it was good. It was just uh, it's how I would love VR to work, like when you watch the movie,
Right.
but it's not quite there yet. It's getting closer. It's
Been saying
better.
that since like the Lawnmower Man. That's how I wish
Oh,
VR was.
I know, right? Oh, Lawnmower Man. Yeah, VR, man. It's like one of those things I remember getting the Nintendo Power Glove and hooking it up to my computer so then I could have my hand in the 3D space in the computer. And it's like, so doing that kind of stuff, and it's like seeing the movie, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what I would love it to be like. And then you use real VR now, and it's like, it's so much closer than it was then. Uh, VR helmets used to have to be on a crane because they had CRT TV or in the in the front versus the nice flat screens now. So to me, it cracks me up. Like I just think about like back when we thought VR was pretty cool that you
Yeah.
needed a
Well, the
harness.
cabling that was required, right? Like just the trunk of yeah. So we're gonna scratch that itch by doing a game that's from that era when VR was not good.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it was interesting. The so one of the things about this whole thing with that movie was that there's the Easter egg in the original game. That if you go through a certain way and you find it, apparently nobody found it till after the game developer had left Atari. So his thing was Atari had done this thing where they didn't want to have any of the developers' names on any of the games. So there was no like credit given to the developers within Atari. Part of it was they didn't want other game companies poaching their developers to write games for them. Supposedly that was part of the story. Who really
Huh.
knows like what the thinking was there? So as part of a small retaliation to it, that's where the first this Easter egg came from. Um, they kind of call it the first Easter egg, but it's apparently there was one that was discovered that was done like a year or so before this. But this is a very popular one because when it first started happening and Atari got wind of it after the developer had left, they actually redid a version of it and took his name out of it, and
Huh.
then everybody got upset about it and they put it back. So there was some controversy going on there.
Yeah. Keep in mind too, you were buying this on a cartridge for maybe some of our younger viewers. So like it
Hmm.
wasn't like they just patched it and then it was there and then they patched it and then it was not. It was a chunky little brick that you plugged into your game system that if you bought it when it was on there, you had it.
Yep.
So
So they got away with it for a while. It was pretty neat.
yeah.
Um,
All right.
yeah,
So
so
let's
we're
maybe
at the
review. Yeah.
yeah, let's just do that real quick here. So what we worked on last week was, well, we got the cursor moving around, which was it's pretty straightforward. We've done that a bunch of times. But this one we wanted to get it where we could pick up the key. So you pick it up by just running into it. You press a space bar to drop it. You can go and pick it up again, drop it, and whatever the angle is that you hit it from, that's kind of where it stays. It pops a little bit. We may come back and clean that up, but this is working well enough to actually be able to play the game. So I think this puts us in a pretty good spot as far as that goes. I wonder if the emote
Hey,
popped.
Zora, what's up? A cartridge. Yeah, the old Atari cartridges. Oh, did the emotes work? I didn't see.
I didn't look. Yep, I see it. So now it's not as overwhelming, right? Because last week it was just like the whole screen would just be splashed with them. That was
I need to do one now. Just want to see.
That's the one that's around me.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. that was the fun we were having yesterday, right? So you kind of want to be able to play with it. Now I can actually, like I said, now I can actually send emotes, which I couldn't do before.
Oh yeah, because you have the chat.
Yeah. That is pretty neat. I'm glad that we got that working the way that we wanted to. Now I want to figure out all different ways of making that work. So I think today what we were talking about that we want to do is go the direction of being able to move around the map, right? So we're gonna have different screens. So as our character gets on the edge of the screen, we want it to go to the next map. Right now, it just kind of disappears.
Right.
Oh wow, it actually goes pretty far off, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing with Snap too. You can actually just keep on going.
I noticed that. I almost ran out. So what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to identify where we can leave the screen. I mean, this screen here right now is open, obviously, so we should be able to leave on every screen, every side.
Right. But we want to put up some walls so that essentially it's going to be rooms, right? We're going to be moving from room to room.
Yeah, so. I think your video just froze.
Could be. I was having some weirdness a minute ago, but then it seemed like it picked back up.
Yeah, so
all right, so it may knock me off altogether when I try and do this. So be prepared.
I'll call you back if that happens. So so moving around, got the stages. So, yeah, we should just use that as like the picture for them when we're having technical difficulties.
The one that's up there now.
Yeah. Just like
I can't actually, like, your screen is frozen. It's like Skype is completely locked up. It's like Task Manager locked up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't even get to it. Thank you, Skype.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I'm gonna kill Skype, and then you can give me a call back.
Okay. Sounds good. So we're gonna lose Pete here for a moment. I will show you what I've done so far with this here. Actually, hold on. I want to capture Pete's picture here. So now I got all right, I got that saved. So what I did is I created a few different stages, some different backgrounds. So I used the stage in Pete? Okay, good. I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
I need to reset up the screen share. It'd be nice to figure out what's causing this so we could stop it.
What? Skype not being good? I think
Yeah.
it's Microsoft that's causing that.
Thanks to them. So just so you know, I captured that picture, so I'm gonna be I'm gonna be using that on my. So I have like different scenes. I have one where it's just me, but I'm gonna put that picture up for you as the, as the default. So if we ever need to have just audio from you, we could just put that picture up.
We should use the overlay like we were doing with the chatbot, have it like come up when we're thinking. Like if it gets quiet, like if too much time goes by when it's quiet, it'll just come up and you'll see my face going,
Yeah, right. That'll be good. All right. So I was
All
just
right.
going over the fact that I'd created some stages, right? So that's kind of what we're going to use to capture the space, right? So I have like this one here where it's just got like an opening at the bottom.
Right.
Here's where it's just the top and bottom are blocked, so you can get through that. An opening at the top, another one that's an opening at the bottom, but has the two sides open. So I think this is pretty close without doing maps, like the maze that they have in the game. This pretty much covers, I think, the all of the scenarios that they have. Oh,
Do
you
they
know what?
have do
There's
they have a
one.
door left and right, or it's just open?
It's just open, but they
Okay.
do have one of these that's top and bottom. So I should be able to
Uh,
just duplicate this, and I think. Oh, you can't. Well, I can always flip it. No,
yeah,
can
just
you flip a background?
I think so. I think the paint tool's the same. I can't imagine there's even less features.
Oh, I can't edit it. Look, the only thing I can change is the center.
Oh,
I can paint a new costume. Maybe because I imported it.
maybe because it's a vector. Did
Well,
you
no, because
import these as a vector?
I did import them as a vector, but you can edit as a vector, right? So if I want to do a new one, I can say I want to do this as a vector.
Okay, so it can deal
So I
with it.
could. I'm I'm at a loss. I'm not really sure.
Well, let's not do that room yet. We don't need to be lost right now.
Yeah.
um, so I have a question though. Can you rotate the background images? Like, could we like see how I have the door on the bottom and the door on the top? Could that be the same room that we would just tilt? Or I'm not sure if you have those blocks available to you or not on the.
I don't know. Let's see. Can we?
So there's
Uh,
no motion because it's a motion block.
yeah, right, because it's a rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's no. Yeah, so we'll I can easily do it in the tool I used, right? So, like here, I can actually show it, right? So I use a thing called Inkscape for doing vector drawings because it's open source, it's free, you can download it. It's not as user friendly as some of the Adobe products, um, but you can really do everything that you need to be able to do with it, right? So I can just select this, if I click it again, now I get my little rotations, so I can just flip it.
It's weird. It looks like it moved a smidge.
Yeah, right.
Huh.
Shoot. You know what it is that so I had to draw these lines myself. So it's not very straight, and it didn't snap. That's why you can see like a little edge there. I see it's not real straight.
Yeah.
It's because I had to I had to draw it by hand. I was just
Might
doing
have
it.
been a rectangle tool with a wide brush type situation.
Oh, Zora, it's called Inkscape. Um, this is this is pretty good for doing vector graphics. We use it a lot for doing like the ads and stuff like that because it makes it, easier to scale it and size it all the different ways without losing resolution. Now I just need to do a save as. I'll save this as room 5. The other thing
I
that is
think
great about this one too is that they have a lot of tutorials on it because there's a lot of people that use it. So if you're trying to figure out how to do something, there actually is a lot of help out there for it. Um, I think Adobe products tend to be a little bit easier to use for like faster workflows, but you could do a lot inside of Inkscape. without ever having to go and pay thousands of dollars for Adobe products.
So didn't you want to make one that was open top and bottom as well?
There isn't one where it's open top and bottom.
Oh, okay, there's just okay. So you just need the one more.
Yeah. I just needed because this is the dragon room.
Okay.
Like the first dragon room. So if you're in the
So,
dungeon, or like you're at the gate and you go down and then to the right and then down, this is what that room is. And you've got the dragon in there that you gotta slay with the sword. So cool. So now we've got we got a bunch of different rooms. We're gonna need. So here's the part that's interesting. How are we gonna capture it going off the screen? Does Snap have any tools for that?
like an edge tool?
Yeah.
There's definitely a touching the edge that you can do. The other thing we can do is we can actually just have it respond to the position. Like we kind of know, like once you cross a threshold on the X and Y axis, you just know you're in the next screen.
Right. So part of it is that we need to have it where it's not going to move. So like right now, if with this going, I can just go right over top of this wall.
Right.
So we need something that's going to stop that first.
So we can do a sensing or touching on the color of the wall.
Okay.
And then we could just basically short circuit the movement loop here that you have in that forever loop. So say, if not touching kind of thing, then do everything else, just drop out.
Okay. What does this mean? So we say, should I do?
So you can do a not,
right,
if you want,
but I can't leave, like do a continue type operation on a loop.
No, you'll just have to wrap everything in that condition and drop out.
Okay, that sounds good. So then I'm just gonna say if
I don't think anyway. I mean, maybe you can in Snap. Who knows? Actually, I haven't done as much in Snap as Scratch.
Should it be a situation where, so do I put it all around it, or do I put it down here at the bottom? And
well, it won't do anything then.
Well, here's what I was thinking, right? So if I could do this and then say sensing, say touching. Oh, good, I can do that. I think I made them all the same color. I'm hoping I did. maybe I didn't. So I was thinking if I did that, I could just put go to in here and use do like this. So the reason I was thinking about that, right, is that it'll come down here and then it keeps resetting it if it's touching it, right?
Yeah, that works.
Now, the only thing that's weird is if I hold down, I can't move left or right. I don't know if that's actually a problem or not. You know what I mean?
I do, and you should be able to. You should be able to slide along that.
Yeah, especially if I'm I mean, if I stop, I can move it, right? It's like as long as I'm not pushing in the direction that's hitting the color, it's
right. So you would need to know if you were pushing which direction and then not do the go-to on the other one. That's what the problem is.
Yeah. Because it's a general touching statement, not a...
Yeah, we don't have a position, like which side you're touching or anything.
Yeah.
But you would have that if we went, instead of with the touching, if we went with there's basically an edge to the screen, we would definitely have that because you would know what that position was.
Yeah, I think the benefit of the touching though is it makes it easier to build the stages.
Well, I mean,
I think I think we're gonna have to accept this as part of the.
Well, keep in mind too, we're going to have to be able to change what the touching color is, which is an interesting conundrum because in Adventure the different rooms are like different castles. That's how you know that this key goes with this castle and things like that. So the background colors change.
Oh yeah,
based on
see,
the
that's a
room.
different color too.
Yeah, so I mean that's also going to be a challenge. So I mean we could get all the colors and have like a list of them. Say if it's touching any of these, then it's a wall.
Would it matter if so in this stage for the color, right? So I imagine we would do the colors by changing just doing a graphic effect on it,
Hmm.
right? So we
And
could
there is
set
a color effect, yeah.
so like this could be
Hmm.
right. So now that it's that color, does this still it does not. Okay. So hmm.
Indeed.
Hmm. I don't know what the
I don't
right.
think I don't think we're it's going to be it's going to be hacky to try and use their touching for this. I think. I don't know.
Oh, let me just set this color back. Um. Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be tricky, huh? If we don't, I mean, there's
So
only 3 castles.
yeah, and the screen size is consistent. So I mean, we really could say if you're 15 pixels off the edge, go back, basically do the same thing you're doing, but instead of doing touching, just find the edge, and then we would have to just calculate. We'd have to know what room we were in,
Yeah.
which
So
would
you
get
have to have
kinky.
all the variables for every room.
Yeah.
That's the part. That's why the color touching is
But we're
actually
going to
going to
need
be.
that to some extent anyway, because we're going to start to put things in the room. So I mean, there is going to be like a room definition. I don't know.
There
I don't know.
is, but not like what. If we were just doing what sides were open, that's fine. But that's not. We're gonna have a maze. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to be able to move
So
around the maze.
all right. So if we use that color effect, do we have the ability to get what the color is out so that we can then pass that to the touching?
I think so. Yeah. Let's.
Because I didn't
I'll
see
try.
where it was reporting what the color is.
Oh, you just So, right. So if I do that, and I come back over here, I think I can just do.
Just say 40.
No. I just click on this, and then I click that.
Well, that's great, but I'm saying if we change it programmatically, can we get it out?
Why do we care? We know what the numbers are going to be that we're going to set the level to.
Right. So then we would just need to. Hmm.
I think we come back to that. Let's use the touching as the method that we're doing for it. Because I
Okay.
was thinking if we picked if we're going to do 3 castles, so we have 3 different colors, which technically isn't how it does it in the game, because it seems like it just randomly selects the color for the border, um, except for the water level, like the
The
main.
water level's blue, but the other ones have to do with like which castle you're in, like what castle you're near, to some extent.
Didn't so the one that we were playing, um, shoot, I thought it would just come right up. So the one, right? So let's see how this is now green.
Huh?
I guess what I'm getting at is that they're. Oh, put me into the. How did I get onto the 3rd level already?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that you can 100% trust the emulators either, but
Yeah, I
um,
was watching some videos of like the gameplay, and so like they changed colors, and then they got this weird bar. I don't know why. This is why I was curious. Like, why is there this bar here?
because when you unlock one of the castles, that comes down. I think like that's a black castle or something.
Oh, okay.
So there's like because that's why you're running around to these different castles and getting the color key for the color castle. So that's sort of how you find your way home using the different colors, and then you can open up parts of the map by
Yeah,
unlocking different parts of the different castles.
yeah. actually not the right way to do this. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, so if you go off here, this is kind of like up near the top of one of the screens. Do we need to mimic that where it flickers? Yeah, so cool. All right. So I think the question is, how do we want to do the borders then? If we're going to do it based on having detailed information about a room,
Right.
um,
Well, I was thinking because when we eventually have items that we can leave in the room.
well, we're gonna have, but that's like very minimal information,
Yeah.
right? That's the thing. It's like that's not as bad as trying to keep track of what this is.
Well, if we know what color effect we set, can we push that into that color, like into that touching? Like, how do we get? Because if we could just get that without having to, like, stop the code and go click on the border, then we could know what color is the boundary at any given time.
Right. Oh, what?
I mean, the other thing is we could decide, like, here's our palette of 8 colors we're going to use for all the different rooms, and then just we could have that minimal stuff be on each room, each costume.
Yeah.
And just have, like, kind of like, I guess it's just a bunch of ifs, but like what would normally be like a switch.
You can't put.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so you can't like put something in there. Yeah, but that's what I was thinking. Like we could have. Well, now here's the part that gets tricky, right? Because there is the bridge to get over the water. So.
Yeah. Right.
I think I think we should maybe do just pick a few colors and go with it, and we'll just kind of not have the different colors all over the place for the right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. In fact, maybe we'll just use the ones that are, because there's just like 2 different blues, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe let's just move through the rooms now, and we'll worry about levels and colors later. Let's make it one color, and we'll just pick that and deal with it.
Yeah. So that one. I wonder if can we do touching the sprite?
It's not a sprite, it's the stage.
Oh, there is an edge.
Yeah, but that's the edge.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, bummer. I was thinking like because it's a vector, like that middle portion would be empty, so I thought maybe it might actually work. So for right now, I'm just going to do the 2.
Yeah. The 2 blues.
Yeah, the 2 blues. All right, so the next. So I mean, this is pretty good. So we can now. This will at least get us from being able to get out. But now when we go through here,
yeah, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. So we're gonna want to get. So we could sense the edge and then do an edge detect, right? Figure out like which edge we're on. So then we could use that one.
I don't think the edge tells you which you're on.
It doesn't, but it tells you when to actually check it.
Yeah, that's true. And then you could check the position.
Yeah, so we could say like if it's touching the edge. All right, so now what do we do? So we have to, because we have to change rooms.
Yeah, well, we need to know what the position of, I guess, each, like what the maximum position to be on screen is.
Oh, it's easy. So it's 480 wide and 360 up and down.
Right. So if we get outside of that, we'll assume you didn't hit a wall, and then we can see which one is outside of the acceptable range, so we'll know which way you went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we'll know to start either from the top or the bottom of the next screen.
So we want to do something like if let's say we're going to do the bottom for the start of this, right? So we'll just say, so it'll be greater than, because this is 0, 0. It's 360 high. So 360 split in half divided by 2 is 180.
Yeah. 180.
So I don't remember how big our square is. So 180 down. So we want it to be bigger than. Actually, if we just do 180, that'll get it off the screen before it pops onto the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's greater than 180. I need to put this. Needs to be the
position.
X position.
Yeah.
X position. Y position.
No, Y position if you're going down. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I wonder if I could put this. Nah, it doesn't matter. We'll just put it right in here. I'm trying to think, like, if when we go to change rooms. Oh, that's fine. I think this will be fine, right? So we're going to the bottom, right? So if we're going to go to the bottom, we actually want the position of our adventure to go to the top of the new screen, right? I think we can make an assumption that the next screen will be open.
Yeah, at the top. Here.
Yeah. So we could just set. We can actually leave the X position and just do a set Y.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want to come in at the same left and right position.
So we'll just do 5. See what that looks like.
It's going to put you like in the middle of the screen, isn't it? It's going to do nothing. It's a minus. You're going down. If Y position is greater than or less than minus 180.
Is it really? Oh yeah. Oh, it's like a grid. I'm still. This is the problem with like working in different game engines. They define their.
I work in this one in particular a lot, so I'm used to thinking that way.
Is that right? I think that's right.
It's going to be less than because it's still going down.
So this would still be, so Y position should be greater than
minus 180. Yeah. No, it needs to be a less than.
Yeah, well, that's what I had it before. I had them switched. So
yeah,
I'll just do this to make it clearer.
Yeah, it's less than 180.
Something doesn't seem like it didn't work right. It did something weird. Oh shoot! It's because see, I did it again, thinking 0 is the top of the screen.
I told you it's going to put it in the middle of the screen, but you just didn't respond.
I didn't.
Like, it's going to be like right in the middle. And I guess that's
well,
when
you said right in the middle, and I said, yeah, it should be right in the middle of the top. Right, not the middle of the screen, like for both X and Y. I was thinking just X. All right, hey, but I mean, then it worked at least.
Yes, it bends back to the middle. All right, so. There it is, except 5's not enough, but yeah.
And it came with it, which is good, because that means that we're going to be able to have, 5's fine. because we don't want to
Oh, it'll
come
be open.
past it. It'll be open, right? So that's why I was saying the assumption is that it'll be open. So now we just need to be able to express in here that we're changing screens.
Right. And that's going to be interesting because you're going to have to tell the stage to change.
And so I think we can do that with our messages, right?
Do a broadcast. Some control, I believe.
Yeah, so here we go. Maybe we can even do that as a broadcast and wait. And we'll say changing rooms. So I think we're gonna need something to say what room we're in.
We are.
Right, so we'll need a variable. That'll be for all sprites. Do room number.
Yes, yeah, and then we're going to have some sense of a map of how these are all going to fit together, huh?
Mm-hmm. But let's just do a thing here. Well, for right now, we'll just say if this is, we'll set room number to, we'll say this is room 0, and room 1 will be our next room, just so we can test this out, so we can move to the next stage.
Right.
So then in here we have to respond to that broadcasted message. Right, so I'm guessing this is it?
It is.
Okay. It didn't have broadcast in the name, so I was like, I'm not sure if that's the right thing. So now we can say if the operator. So we'll say if this variable for room number is equal to 1, then we can switch the costume to. Could we actually? No, I think we just need to do that. For right now, I'll just put it in the. Oh, is room 2 the one that has the opening at the top? It does not. So
room 5, 4.
5 or 3 would do it. Because so 3 has the opening here at the top, and 5 has an opening at the top. So they should both be
acceptable. Yes.
Yeah. Alright, so now I should be able to come down here. Boom, we got the key still there.
The key stays, yeah. And that doesn't work because we didn't put a top.
We didn't put a top on. So in the adventure here, since this is what's controlling this change, we're gonna need to have something that says bringing this out here for a second. So we can put this in here.
So I'll tell you, like, since there's not a switch, if you get into the situation where you've decided what you want to do and you want to drop out, like nested if else's is kind of how you accomplish that switch in this block code. Just, I don't know if you want to go that way, but just to let you know, like you can kind of get it done that way. Like if you want to stop, like once you find your value, you want to drop out, kind of thing.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think what I'm trying to do though, right? So is we need to have something that we need to check that what room we're in, and then that will tell us what we should do, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna say right now we just have this Y position check here, but what we really want is we want to say if we're in room 0, this Y position check tells us to do this and go to room 1, right? So the case that what I'm trying to address here with this is we want to test the room number. So it does mean that we're going to have to set that room number at the beginning of this game to 0. And then we want to say if the room So the music Pretzel is playing is like some feels like Mario drum and bass. It's it's just like it's weird. I don't know how to describe it. It just sounded funny. Right, so get back on task here, John. So if room number is equal to 0, that's when we want to do this check. And then else if right now we only have 2 rooms, so let's just do the
It's just an if and an else, yeah.
yeah. So let's just do an if and an else, right? So we'll just say set this back to 0, and then we want to say if y position now is actually greater than 180, then we would do that, right? So this is the
Because that's going to be the top check, yeah.
yeah. I'm just switching this to make it easier to read it. I think I was just because you could just swap the sides, right? So you don't.
Mhm. Yeah, but I feel like that's more readable.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So now, yeah. So let's give that a try. Oh. Oh.
We have to set the room, the original room coming in. So you got to set the stage.
Oh, you know what I should do? To make that easier, I should do the broadcast up here, and it should just change it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I could just say, so I set the room. I'll just set changing rooms.
But what does that say on the stage?
Oh, we like got one room.
There is, yeah. That's why I was like, I don't think we have it. Yeah, there we go.
All right, so this is room 0.
That'd be 0, and that'd be room 1.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. We'll clean that up at some point.
Well, I just.
No, I know. We got it. It'll probably be in an array at some point. There it
All
is. It
He
should
doesn't-
go the other way.
Oh.
Oh.
You know what? So on the adventure, I copied and pasted, right? So the woes of copying and pasting. This
So
should have
that-
been negative
Yes, sir.
145. Yeah, so now we should be able to leave, pick up our key.
Yes, sir. There it is.
All right.
Touch some walls just to make sure we're good. Yep. Cool.
Walls are all touchy.
Yay.
Wonder what happens if I'm here.
Walls.
I'm stuck on the wall. So I'm probably gonna have to fix these graphics so that they're all lined up with each other. I didn't actually make sure that the doorways all matched in size.
Yes. You know, honestly, as we were messing around before we started with that bounding box, I was kind of thinking we could almost draw these rooms with the pen. It's just lines.
We could.
Then they would definitely always be the same size, you know what I mean? Because we would just render them. We wouldn't have to worry about the positions or add new sprites. We would just give it a new definition and go.
Right. Right. So we'd have.
I mean, it's a different way to go. But now that you brought that up, like making sure we basically get the graphics drawn exactly right.
Yeah. So I'll tell you my concern with drawing them.
Mm-hmm.
The convenience of drawing them is that we can do the touching. Actually, can we? I don't think we can because the sprite, the pen line itself is not actually a sprite.
No, you would still be doing the touch and color. Yeah.
Right. So you'd have to. I wonder what that would look like if we were to try to do that. Right. So.
Yeah, but we could set the pen color and keep track of that, and maybe set the touching. I don't know.
Because
like might be able to get the pen value.
Well, we would know what the pen color is, but we can't. We still can't set the pen color to the value of the touching.
Yeah, but see that pen hue, we could stick that in. I bet. See, it's a bubble.
No, you can't. This does not accept anything. So like if we wanted to set this color, I can't do. You can't put it in the box.
Okay, because it's a box.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to do with the touching, but I couldn't actually put anything in it. So that was very frustrating.
Yeah.
I was struggling.
Yeah, I
with
see.
that. But what we can do, so we could do this here, right? So we say when I receive changing rooms, we could do a clear, and then we can set our pen color.
Hello? Hello?
Computers.
Ah, I hear you now.
Yeah, I think I hung up on you.
Oh, yeah, which it did just like end. So,
I think what happened was my headset just dropped, like the USB connector to it just turned off. And I think when it did that, it thought my headset, because I can like hang up from my headset, and I think it took that as a signal to hang up the call.
what is going on?
I
I don't know. What's the last thing you saw?
We were- the last thing we were trying to do is trying to get the.
Yeah, we're trying to move between rooms.
Yes, I want to set this back to empty.
Yeah, because we were getting involved in drawing the walls with a pen instead of using a graphic.
If you're talking about with the stream, it's my headset turned off and hung up on Pete, and then of course my microphone wasn't connected, so no sound was coming out.
It's what we call in the trade technical difficulties. The broadcasting biz. I was watching that. Then there was a little song playing.
Oh, so there's always a little bit of music playing in the background, but because the Skype hung up, the volume of that went up. Right now, Windows will lower all the background sound when you're on a Skype call. So it did that. So Skype shut down, and then Pretzel just got really loud. And then my headset disconnected. So then there was no talking at all. So it was just music.
It's our new format, just music and our faces.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to us. We're just gonna play some music while we look at each other, I guess.
All right, so let's get this pen thing going. We got like 10 minutes.
No, only 10 minutes. All right, so yeah, so if we're gonna do the pen color, so what we have to do is once we've set the color, then we have to do the motion, right? So you kind of see I did it here, right? So we need to do. We're gonna probably use a lot of pen ups and pen downs because we want to. Yeah. So because we need to, like, if we were to try to draw, oh, can we do will the pen fill? It will.
And I think you can set the width as well, so you could even do like fat lines.
Yeah, so we can do that. So we can set the pen size. Let's say make it probably 10, I think. I think 10 is the right size. So we're gonna pen up. We're gonna move it to. In this case, we would do.
It'd be minus whatever the X is and whatever 175 or 180. Yeah.
Yeah, minus 180. Well, so we're gonna.
No, that's going to be the bottom.
Yeah, that's gonna be the bottom. But the problem is this is right on the edge, so then only 5 would come in because it's like it'd be perfectly in this corner.
Right. So you want to push it out a little.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to push it out a little bit. So because we're doing 10, let's do 5, and then that should give us a 10 size block all the way around. So we'll do the same thing here. So this will be 175. Right. So that's the starting point.
So it's at the top left corner.
Yeah. Let me So I
So
guess the
now,
question, if we wanted to do this all in one motion, if it's going to be that first board, it might be better to kind of come down here and go up and around. Let's get one line first and see how that looks. And we'll just do that left side, right? So that'll be, X would stay the same. This would then go to the negative of that.
right. So draw down. So you're going to come down the left side.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you just double click that? Oh, you're going to try and, I thought you were going to try and do like one stroke.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That I think will work. It's a little thin. You might want to go a little fatter.
We can go a little wider. I think the part that I wasn't sure about was, can we change the pen's shape?
Maybe it's in with that hue. Maybe what else is in that drop down?
Oh,
see that pen hue? One more up. So if you hit that drop down, what else is in there?
It's just like the
nope,
coloring,
not the shape.
Coloring option. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. I think the only concern I have is that we're gonna have this pen that when we do the edges here, it's gonna be rounded, which, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So this would be, do that 10. So we're gonna subtract 10 from that. 10 from that. And then 70 that. All right. Yes, that's a little bit better. That size.
Yeah, and I mean, when we make the turn and draw it the other way too, that'll square off the corners. You'll just have the opening will have a...
The inside corners will be square. The outside will have that little edge to it. I mean,
yeah.
We could start them off. Screen to get that, but it wouldn't be one continuous draw.
Yeah, and that's not going to help us with the openings.
It is not going to help us with the openings.
The doorways.
So let me try to go. Let me see if I can find that spot. Right. So we want to go to. So we stay there, and we want to go to kind of about halfway. So that would be 0. I guess we could decide how big we want that opening to be.
Right, exactly. So we're going to say, yeah, if that thing's going to be like 40, then we take that out.
Yeah.
And split the difference, right?
Let's try negative 40 and see. Whoa. Oh, wrong value. No, that should have been right. Oh, I left this. I copied the... copy paste.
Yeah, so that's like halfway. Oh, it didn't square it off, so we would have to push it off a little bit and then.
Well, it's squared off the inside. That's what I was saying. The inside, the outside won't be. We'll have that little edge there. We could even make this where, we could do something where we take this to, I don't know, just say 85, right? And then that'll kind of square off the outside edge, right? So it'll kind of see.
That's what we should do.
Right, so we could kind of do that, and then that'll at least, it won't look terrible, but it'll, I mean, it won't look square. Which, I have a feeling that if he had a choice when he designed the game, it wouldn't have been square either, but those were the options. It's like, you had very limited pixels. So we could actually, if I do this where we do pen up and we go here first, then go to that, and then go to this, and then to here.
You do that pen up again.
Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, this is the one that I need to do here. Oh. So I want to go to the, just off the screen, then put the pen down, then come, just bring it onto the screen, and then the rest of it should be fine. What did I need to do, Pete?
No, did it happen?
Yeah, are you not seeing my screen?
Yeah, no, I am.
Oh.
I was actually looking at the code, and then you clicked it. I was like, oh, it looks like it drew it. So that did it. So that did like the halfway.
Yeah, so if I duplicate this one, duplicate it again. I think I'm going to need one more.
I thought you were getting ready to do this, and I was like, oh, you're going to need a pen up and a pen down again for that
Well,
first.
here we can just keep going because we're gonna do this whole top's gonna be closed off and closed off and closed off. So I could just do it all in one. So I should be able to take this to from that to 230,
Right.
and then this will be 230, and then this will be negative 170. Then this would be 60, and this will be 170, and then this will be 60, and this will be 185. Oop, 1800.
So that should draw the box.
Oh!
Oh, something went wrong.
I forgot to change this back to negative.
Ah. There it is.
There we go.
You're right.
So, how do we define... I guess we'll just have a room... We'll just have a thing that says, if room 0, this is what we'll draw.
Yeah, and we could actually make a block that is room 0, and we just call it draw room 0. Right?
Let's see. Is it? It wouldn't be a pen block though, or would it? I guess it.
I think it would be a pen block.
All right, let's try it.
For all sprites.
Well.
Or for this sprite, I guess.
For this
We're
sprite.
just using the one sprite to draw it, yeah. And then you can drag that code right into that window.
So then I should be able to do this.
Right.
I mean, I guess it worked. Let's try this one.
Yeah, let's clear it first. Yeah.
Cool. So then we could. All right. So then let's work on drawing room 1. Or I guess that'll be the next challenge.
So now when we leave that room, we have to, draw the next room.
Yeah, so I need to...
Well, you can duplicate it, it said, right? And then we could change it around. Yeah. Duplicate block.
So the only problem is that in here it's hard to edit it. So I think what I'd rather do is say duplicate this and then paste it there. And then I can
so
change
try it.
Yeah, because this is easier to redraw it, right?
So that.
Yeah. So we could actually, if we wanted to make this simple, we could just reverse this.
Yeah, just like all of them, really.
Yeah. So make this then. So it comes in, and then this will just. Can I just make these all positive, or like switch the sign on them? You think?
I think you can just flip it. I think I would be interested to see what happens if we do. So why don't we do it?
Let's try that.
Even if we're wrong, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Ooh, neat. I can actually hit tab through all these.
So here's an interesting thing. You can actually use like the little join method to flip signs and stuff too if you needed to, which is weird. But so you can append a minus to a number and it'll read it as a negative, or you can go through and multiply by like -1. So there are weird tricks. Yeah, so that did it.
Yeah. Look at that. I'm actually surprised that worked.
All right, so now we make that draw room next.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 10:02.
Yep. That's why I was just going to put this in here and then say, okay.
Oh, man,
Oh, I made that for all of them. Let me just do that. here. Okay.
Right.
Because we only need.
You gotta wrap the if. Yeah.
So we say that, and then we say
The variables. Right.
variables. So that's 0. I think the only other piece is we don't have the sensing for the right color.
Yeah. You take the or out at this point.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna leave it because it doesn't. I want to be able to test it, see that we're working. Whoa! Set room 0.
What happened?
No, I don't have this set. Shouldn't this have? So it's set to 0, so that should have executed.
So did we not fire that changing rooms then? It says broadcast changing rooms and wait.
Yeah, I gotta reset this though. Let's try stopping. I think this clear might have been clearing it after this.
Yeah, could be.
Like it was a timing issue.
Yeah, you can get like weird like race condition type stuff too when you have so many different things firing off that flag. Like I don't know what the order is that it uses. Oh, that worked though.
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh, it's almost too smooth. You don't even get the sense of moving between a room or not.
I think that's why they probably changed the colors. So because the colors let you know you changed, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, part of what I did on the, like in here, we could change it. So I left the color as part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we would need to have whatever the colors are that we're going to use.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I didn't try checking if I can hit the wall. Yep, okay, good. So the walls block you. You go in, blocks. Very smooth. I think we are in business. I have to tell you, I'm a little concerned about when we go to do the maze, because that's like 6 different screens that we're gonna have to do this drawing for. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, we might have to get a little cleaner about it, but
yeah,
I think it was a good start though. Like the way we kind of busted that out into little functions.
You know, we might be able to use array of arrays, right?
Yes,
so this would,
absolutely.
Like this
I
could
think
be, if we did an array of array for this room, it would be one array that would have each of the points that we need to draw it at, and we just go through them and do each one.
Yep, but just go spin right through.
So, and then we can have, if we had multiple spots that we needed to start and stop, we could have an array of arrays where we can then do each of the points for each of those, right?
Yeah,
so,
and we're probably going to have to do something along that line to deal with the contents and when we start putting dragons and keys and things in rooms. So,
yeah, I mean, I think
like
it would be interesting, like with the key here, right? So what we'd almost have to have is that in here, because of what we're doing to maintain it, we could actually check the room change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could just have a variable for its current room and see when it changes rooms if it's there to hide and show it.
Yeah.
Now the only thing, this would be nice to take advantage of this and use it and clone it and just have different colored keys, right? So we can just do 3 colors and then we can call it a day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, if you look too, like all that list stuff down there in the bottom left of your screen right now, there's all kinds of like filters and things too that we could use to get to the different potentially like properties or positions of things. Because this is like, see that portion, all these dark red blocks. I feel like this is where Snap has it all over Scratch, because look at all that you can do in there. Find
Right.
first item, combine using. I don't even know what that map does.
Well, it looks like it. Well, probably does a map operation that basically turns this into something else.
Yeah, it must, right? Yeah, it must just convert it into something. But yeah, like all those features may help us with these lists of rooms and things that we're going to have, because there's a lot of state in an adventure game. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's coming along though. I think.
Yeah, I think this is good. All right, well, I guess we should wrap it up. It's 10:08. We've gone a little over even.
Yeah. They're gonna kick us off at Twitch. So that's what ends up happening.
My family's going to be like, "Where are you? We need you." So,
Are you sure that's really what's gonna happen? I think it's gonna be more of a, why'd you come back?
yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But anyway.
No.
No.
All right, good. So we're moving rooms, and then hopefully next week we'll be doing. Maybe we should start doing some of the state stuff. See if we can get that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to do some emotes at the end here to carry us out. It's a nice big group of them. Hey, there we go. John, you didn't get one. What happened?
I'm just not that special. This time I got something.
Yeah, there you go. No, I didn't get nothing. Oh,
All right.
Zora's going.
Sweet.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great one. If I can.